Good evening. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Monday Night Live. Slightly different for us. Evening to Carl. You're the first one in the chat, mate. Evening. I am Omar. I'm joined with Mr. Jay Thomas. Hello, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too shabby, thank you, mate. Bit last minute little for us, but we're going to nonetheless talk about Saturday's 1-1 draw against West Brom Albion. And then, of course, we'll go in depth and talk about Preston North End tomorrow, who we travel to at Deepdale. Yeah, so this is going to be a little audio in the morning. If you're listening to this on Tuesday morning, we are live tonight on Monday nights. We're normally live on Sundays and on Fridays on YouTube, 8 p.m. You'll find us. Evening to Dan, evening to Chris. I guess what I'm going to do is cue up our intro and get this show on the road. I did have it lined up. Here it is.
Language you don't usually hear on television. Millwall in London's Dockland.
No one likes us, but we don't care. We're that Millwall podcast. Loud every Friday night right here. Legends like Jimmy and Abdul take a share of the kitchen of two. Super Neil Harris, a fucking legend too. Through the good times and the strife, we support the Lions all our life. This ain't no place for fancy feet. This is fucking Millwall through and through. Located on our very own John Pennison way. Let them all come, let them have their say. Millwall till we die. With that Millwall podcast, loud every Friday night right here.
And there you have it. We do have an absentee today. No Mickey. I think he's still somewhere on the M25, bless him. No doubt he's listening to this. I'm sure we might hear from him in a bit. But yeah, let's talk about Saturday's 1-1 draw, Jay. What's your initial thoughts after Saturday's game? I know you've done a little post-match gut reaction, as you like to call it. How do you feel now on Monday after that, mate?
Yeah, a response, I think, is the main word. I think that would summarise the game on Saturday. We needed to see a response. It was uncharacteristic what happened against Plymouth, but it had to change. You know, it had to be addressed. Neil did address it in his presser, and we saw that he made two changes. Billy came in for Sav, which gave us a little bit more of a foot on the ball, a little bit more energy, and Negley was dropped out, and I think it was Aziz that started, and we looked really good. So yeah, look, West Brom are a top 5 team at the moment. So, you know, to get a draw against anyone in the top 5, I think is a really good result. And the key thing is we saw a response, and the performance I thought was very good, and we should have won the game.
No, totally agree. I mean, you're right to mention the changes. There was 2, wasn't there? So obviously we had Jensen in goal, right back of Kramer, Tanganga next to him with Jake Cooper, left back was Joe Bryan. We'll come on to Joe Bryan a bit, no doubt. Midfield 2 of Saville and Denor. And then we had Negley dropping out with Aziz on the right. On the left, come on, we'll do this off the cuff here. Come on. Who else was in that team? Help me out.
On the left was Connolly, and you had Kundal in the 10. Yeah, Aziz were on the right, and Ivanovic.
That's it. And then up front was Ivanovic. I think actually in the first half, it was Aziz. I think actually most of the game, Connolly played off the right, didn't he? Because Aziz had the chance in the first half where he flashed the post. But yeah, there's 2 changes. I think I did ask for it on Friday night when I done the show. Billy Mitchell coming back into the side. You mentioned him and name dropped him already, mate. But I felt like it was good to see him back in the side. Not only that, but also what I felt, and I felt like played into effect on Saturday. Ball retention a bit better. We moved the ball a bit quicker. I know it gets labelled sideways Billy and backwards Billy and all that sort of stuff. And put it to the chat, obviously, Billy Mitchell came in on Saturday. What did we make of his performance? But yeah, I thought it was a welcome addition back to the side. Not to say Saville's done for now or anything like that, but I think Mitchell offers a different quality, quite obviously, different style of play to Saville, but it was nice to see him back in that side, mate, and did offer something different with him and Denor, I felt.
I thought he was brilliant. I really did. I thought he was really good. And when I say that, I don't mean in terms of he's setting the world alight. He just did his job really, really well. When allowed Kasper to sit deep and dictate, I thought he was excellent. He got on the ball. He was quick with it. An amazing clearance off the line, by the way, as well, because that's a goal, you know, and he's got a habit of doing that. But no, I thought Billy was really good. I did see it somewhere that when Billy's played, we haven't lost. When Billy's played, we haven't lost under Neil. So, look, Billy's a good player, in my opinion. I'm part of the Billy Mitchell fan club. You know that, those of you that watch. And I thought after the Cardiff game, he really deserved to take, you know, his phones for that. It was poor decision-making from him. He's had to sit on the bench and bide his time. He got his chance. Yeah, no, like you said, Omar, I completely agree. Not a knock on Saville, but just a bit more energy and a bit more better legs in midfield. Someone that Casper can have a bit more freedom, that he knows Billy's going to be there. And yeah, I thought Billy was excellent, and he really did. He really did himself justice with his selection.
I think there'll be games for the pair of them. You know, like obviously towards the end of last season we saw Mitchell and Denor, and I think the game at Leeds anyway last Saturday stuck in the memory for me when I was talking about it on Friday. Just it offers a bit of a different dynamic to the midfield, I find. And obviously Leeds are playing now at Sunderland, back to their full strength. But it's good to have them options, isn't it, mate? And just offer that something different. And I guess obviously come on to the goal. Obviously it was Aziz with the assist. We mentioned he's back in the side. I mean, obviously he made the impact on Wednesday night, albeit for a consolation against Plymouth, mate. But that's 2 assists in as many games for him. And unlucky not to get on the score sheet as well, but obviously a great ball into Cooper, who'd done the rest, mate. And I think it was well deserved at the time, mate, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought the first 20 minutes we absolutely controlled that game. I thought we looked really quick. We looked fit. We looked healthy. We looked hungry, and we was getting the ball out wide, utilising the width really well. They didn't have Cole Bartley, so we stuck Cooper on him every cross. You notice Cooper was on the substitute that was in his place, and he paid dividends. So Cooper deserves it. He gets up every single week for every set piece. But it's a lovely ball in. I like them balls that are you have to cut back in, defenders step up, and then it's coming in as an attacking player, and it just caught him off guard. And it's a good finish, and we could have been 2-0 up shortly after. A lovely dummy from Kundal, and he put, and who was it? Casper just puts it wide. But I thought first 20 we was really, really good, really progressive. Then, as a top 5 team that West Brom are, they're 5th in the league for a reason. They had their spell and they punished us.
I mean, I was up in the hospitality in the posh seats on Saturday, which I'll reveal to everyone in the chat as well. Prawn Sandwich Brigade over here. But it did feel like, albeit I had a few Guinnesses, like we kept the likes of Adam Armstrong quiet. Armstrong's got a good record against Millwall by nature. He's always seemed to score goals against us at the den. We spoke about it on Friday. I remember one random game against Coventry where he chipped David Ford when first one against League One and caused havoc against us normally. And you're right to mention the quality they had, but we did limit them really like to zilch, apart from that spell, that 10-15-minute spell in the first half. And the goal was poor to give away, wasn't it, mate? I mean, we mentioned Cooper obviously getting the goal, and then Bryan kind of plays an overhit ball into the box, doesn't he, from a set piece? Yeah. We don't really recover from that afterwards. And Bryan, again, another own goal for him. And I felt for him, to be honest, mate. I really did. It's more than normal, to be honest. And he's not had any luck, has he? 2 own goals in the week. It's not good reading for him, but I don't think it gives the reflection to, the game and how he played, mate, to be honest.
No, it doesn't. And look, everyone knows I really have not got much time for Joe Bryan. But if I'm going to slander him when he's playing really bad, I need to give him his props when he's playing well. And I think the last 5-6 games, Joe Bryan's been excellent. He made another last-ditch tackle as well. That was probably a certain goal as well. That's been floating about on the Millwall socials. And it is unlucky. He scored 2 goals this week, both own goals. And none of that he could really do anything about. They've just sort of come off of him. It is what it is. It's unfortunate. I know that he gave the ball away with his overhit cross that led up to it, but the rest of the team have got to do better in dealing with that before it gets to our back line anyway. So you can't really put that on Joe Bryan. But naturally, because he has had, his bad moments this season, everyone's out on his case for it. I understand it. Don't necessarily agree with it. I just think has some common sense because he has been probably one of the better players under Alex Neil for the last 5-6 weeks and doesn't really deserve it at the moment.
No, and yeah, he made a nice last-ditch tackle towards the end of the game to secure the point for us as well, didn't he? And I'll just come back to some of the comments anyway, what we're talking about here. Like, subscribe from Mark Murphy, guys. Yeah, I'm not anticipating loads of viewership today, to be honest. It's Monday night, not a normal slot, but we're doing this also to go out as audio tomorrow morning. As mentioned, if you are listening audio, be sure to get involved with us on a Friday, Sunday night over at YouTube. Quick question here from Carl Bracey. I've heard some of the post-match comments from Alex Neil. What's happened to Langstaff? He says Longstaff, but Langstaff. A good question, isn't it, Jay? I mean, from what I heard, it was quite coy about him being excluded from the team on Saturday in the squad. He said he was injured. That I think that's well known, but he didn't really give a time frame or when he's due to be back, which I felt was a bit interesting, Jay. I mean, he's still absent. Obviously, we've only got the Serbs and Reece go with up top, but it sounds like Coburn will be back tomorrow, which is a welcome addition. But yeah, it's a bit weird what's happened to Langstaff. Where's he gone? I don't know what the injury is, to be honest.
It's really strange that we've not been given sort of an update on what the injury is in the timeline. We had it with Aziz, we had it with Marku, Coburn. The Langstaff, it's always seemed the last sort of 3 or 4 weeks, it's been, he's got a little niggle, he'll be ready on Tuesday, all right? Then he'll be ready Saturday. And then now it's sort of prolonged, and it does seem like, I think that there is potentially some, rafters going on behind the scenes. I think Langstaff is probably knocking on the door, wants his place. I think there could be sort of toys thrown out the pram. You would expect it for someone that's probably come here with a lot of promise to be the main man, especially with Harris being in charge, and Harris spoke really highly of him, to now being in a situation where even if he's fit, I don't really see him getting in the squad, even when Coburn's fit. I just don't see how he fits. So I do feel for him. But look, when we signed him, it was a low risk, high reward signing anyway. It's not nothing that we're going to lose too much sleep over. But it is interesting that we haven't really been told anything. It's unusual from Alex Neil, that's for sure.
I totally agree. I think just on the comments from Billy Mitchell, Dan Riggs says his clearance off the line was as good as a goal. So can't fault him the other day. Totally agree. Mark Murphy here says it's been hard to judge Billy under our previous managers as you don't know what he was asked to do, but he has been good recently. I do agree. I think there is something to that as well, maybe a little bit, Jake. I think that's also, I describe Billy Mitchell as a bit like a water carrier. Sometimes they use that terminology in football, I think. And like for him, it's like,
it's a great term.
His job is not, I don't think anyway in the past it's been to get on the ball, charge forwards and create opportunities at will. It's a bit more of a, I think, tick the play over, get the ball off the defenders, play out wide to the fullbacks, sideways Billy as he's called. But I think that's actually a positive at times because especially whilst we're trying to, you could say with Alex Neil in at the moment, it's trying to have more of the ball, try to create more opportunities. You need a player like that next to someone like a Casper Denor, I feel like sometimes. And is Billy up to that job? I think personally, yes. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we, Joe? I think, but it's an important role he plays, I think, in the side when we're looking to try and keep the ball ticking over, I think.
It's a 2020 version of Jimmy Abdou, isn't it? Every manager that come in has always tried to push Jimmy out. Results don't start going against us, and they realise Jimmy can actually do a job that not only no one else can do, but no one else wants to do as well. Jimmy's job was just sit on their number 8 and make it hard for him, get the ball down and play it to Sean Williams or to vice versa, whoever else was in there with him. And I think that's what Billy's role is in this team. I think he's a change of pace midfielder. I think he does the dirty work. He's definitely not shy of getting stuck in. He can get up and down. I think there's a misconception that he goes sideways. I've seen him drive forward with the ball under Edwards in that unbeaten run in December. He was excellent. He was excellent again under Harris to keep us up. He was pivotal in keeping us up. And I think he'll cement a place in his team. I don't know if he'll start tomorrow. I think Saville's probably someone you'd want to start away from home, that you want to keep it tight, compact. You need a bit more of an experienced head. But at home, definitely, I think we're talking about the same situation with the left and right back, with a Danny McNamara at home and a Joe Bryan away, that sort of thing. I think you can argue the same for Billy Mitchell and Sav at the moment. But yeah, it is definitely hard to judge him, but you can judge him in a sense because every manager has tried to push him out. And then when they bring him back in, we win football games, or at least we don't lose football games. So no, I'm pleased for him.
I do agree. Sammy Freese, I'm going to get your comment up, mate. You've commented it twice. Where's Bangura?
Oh, yeah, I want to talk about this.
So let's move on to that then, because I think also we've gone to the second half. I'll probably come to Cundall a bit more detail in a bit, but me personally, I'm a huge fan of Luke Cundall, actually. I think he offers a lot where he gets the ball in the tight spaces, he turns and he gets towards goal, drives us up the pitch. Yeah. It has come, though, at the expense of Reece Bangura-Williams. Obviously, Jay, we saw him play pre-season. We spoke about that, and we said how obviously there is a player there. He's coming to the side, took it with both hands really, and he's sitting out for a bit. It might not be a bad thing. Maybe you could say maybe to keep him grounded. You could throw anything at that because let's not forget it's his first half a season in professional football playing for us.
Yeah,
it's a weird absentee though, isn't it? He's not got on the pitch last. I think did he get on Wednesday? I can't quite remember. I think he did get on Wednesday, but he's not started nonetheless for a few games now, mate. And yeah, it's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? Where is Bangura, as Sammy says here?
I'm shocked. I'll be honest, because I thought, his contribution, not just his contribution, but his connection with Ivanovic. I mean, that's seemingly been lost since he hasn't played in the game. Ivanovic hasn't really had a sniff in the last 2 or 3 games. But with Bangura-Williams, he was a threat. He saw him instantly. He plays them one-time passes. He gets the ball, looks up, and he looks for him. Whereas that's Ivanovic's game. He runs in the channels behind the defender. He's quick and strong. But with Kundal, Kundal's a bit of a tactician. He likes to play within himself. He's quick with his feet. He can play in tight spaces, and he brings other players into play. And I just don't think Kundal really suits Ivanovic in the team. Kundal suits the team as we're playing at the moment, but he doesn't suit Ivanovic. And I think Kundal, for me, would be better deployed in a centre midfield role, doing what Billy's doing, where he can get us up the field. He can win the ball in midfield and have the ability to spread it while Kasper sits, and then Bangura could play in the 10. That's what I'd probably like to see. But we got to understand that he is a young kid as well. It is, as you said, Omar, his first quarter of a season of professional football, and we've got to manage that better. He'll know that. I've no doubt he'll be hungry to play, but his time will come, because this is a nice problem to have, that we're talking about 2 number 10s that we've got that are both really, really effective and both really good in their own right, whereas a few weeks ago we didn't have any number 10. So it's a nice problem to have, but I would like to see him start for his connection with Ivanovic. I think Kundal will suit Coburn personally.
Maybe, yeah. I think it'd be interesting to see how that plays out, to be fair. And obviously, Coburn is due back. I think the Leon Blue has just said here on that. It'd be good to have Coburn coming back. Better options for us. 100% agree there. Just on what you were saying there as well, Jay, Dan Riggs says, don't think it's any coincidence that since RBW's not been in the team, Serb looks toothless and there's nothing to feed off. RBW football IQ for his age is a joke. Crates for the Serb effortlessly. It's interesting, I think, and also Sammy's reiterated he has to start Bangura-Williams. I think, Sammy, have you got any shares in him, or are you his agent? To be fair, for what it's worth, I don't think he deserves to be out of the side. It's great to have the options, though, Joe, like you said, though. Like, we've gone from playing George Holman in the 10 to having 2 decent number 10s that would be biting their hands off for early in the season. I just want to come back to this comment from Andrew here. Still think Neil doesn't know his best 11 yet. BFS isolated all games, similar to what Dan Riggs has said there. Needed someone like RBW to come on and play decent balls into him, yet Neil brings on Honeyman when we needed flair. What the fuck? Yeah, on that, obviously, the second half comes around. Everyone's seen it, but we'll just recap it a bit. Couple set pieces, isn't it, Jay? A couple good saves from Will Smith, the goalkeeper there. He actually had a blinder, to be fair. Probably could say they're man of the match. I don't think that's being disingenuous, to be honest. But Tanganga has 1 save. Cooper has another 1 save from the keeper. We knock on the door, don't we? And then he makes a couple changes, which I thought was interesting. He brings the Noor off, brings Mitchell off, brings on Sab and Honeyman. But then I think that kind of helped control the game a bit more, I think. And we weren't knocking on the door. And like we said earlier at the start of the show, it's really unlucky not to get over the line on Saturday.
Yeah, I was shocked at the subs. I was, but they worked. I think what West Brom did, which really was a negative for them, is that they took off Jed Wallace, they took off Dean Garner, took off Adam Armstrong, and they brought on a load of lumps. And that slowed West Brom down quite a lot. And it really was a bit of a negative because they couldn't high press us anymore, pin us back. And then we suddenly had the pace, and they was the slower of the teams. And Honeyman and Saville coming on just give us that little bit of legs, because Kasper's played a lot of football. Billy's been in and out the side. It gave us a bit more legs and a bit more fight, that we could keep the ball up the top. It wasn't necessarily about getting attacking options on, but about negating their big guys by allowing us to keep the ball up top with fresher legs in midfield. I thought the subs he made were really good, Alex Neil, and I thought we was by far the better team. But I thought as much as our subs helped us, I think that West Brom subs really helped us more than our own subs, because they completely went a different approach. And even Mowbray somewhat said, like, it's a difficult place to come. Well, you're not going to keep us out. But their keeper, he had an absolute blinder. And when you're talking about an opposition keeper having a blinder, you must have played well, because you would obviously have troubled him. And we did. And it was unlucky not to win that. But also, I think Alex Neil probably looked at it as do I go gung-ho for the game after what happened on Wednesday? Do I go gung-ho and then we lose the game, and then, the dressing room's really down then? Seen a response, take a point away. We played well, should have won. I think that's a really, really good day at the office, to be honest with you.
I think I saw Venom do a tweet, or someone on it anyway, saying 11 games so far, isn't it? Like 5 wins, 3 draws, 3 defeats.
I
think for considering, he's coming mid-season, we didn't know what to expect, did we? Let's be honest. And it was a bit underwhelming, people said at the time. I felt like it was a smart appointment, but underwhelming at the same time, kind of a bit of both. How would you assess, anyway? He's been here, a month and a half, Jay? Still early days, but got a nice little cut run underway. And yeah, I think it's the question I'm saying is obviously. I think Andrew said there, or was it who said it? Someone said anyway. I'm not sure he's better first 11 yet. I think he then leads on to the point here from NOLDU. No one likes us. The problem with having so many attackers now is it might affect the development of Bangura-Williams. But I think also it gives the conundrum to Alex Neil, doesn't it, to find out what is his best 11. I guess maybe he doesn't know yet, but that's not a bad problem to have, I think, to try and have all the competition for places.
No, I don't think he does know his best team yet. He's still working out who's good at what his system is. He said on Wednesday that, you know, he turned the dial a little bit too much. Probably needs to just turn it back down a bit. He hasn't had a pre-season. 3/4 of the squad isn't his. And then the other quarter of the squad has been brought in and he hasn't had time to gel with him. It's Tuesday, Saturday in the Championship. It is difficult. So next season is when we're really going to see it. But you can't grumble with the job that he's done. I mean, you know, it always starts. I think that bad managers have a honeymoon period straight away because their tactics are very basic and it's an easy G up. And I think really good tactical managers, I think they take a few weeks before their honeymoon period starts. And that's what Alex Neil's is. Cooper spoke about it. Saville spoke about it, how the attention to detail and how tactically good he is. And we're starting to see that. I really like his interviews. I think he's honest. I think he's open. He seems like he gets us. He seems like a really good fit for the club. He understands the club, understands the fans, the passion, what it takes to play here. And that's hard to get. After Harris, you don't really think there is anyone else out there. But you know, Neil's very experienced in this league. I think only Gary Rowett has won more games of football in this league. But Alex Neil's got a better resume. He's got promoted with multiple teams that have had low budgets, teams that have had big budgets, teams that have had a lot of experience, teams that have had a lot of youth. So he fits us, he suits us, and I think next season's going to be really, really good under Neil. But I'm happy so far. You know, we're more than safe at the moment. And this is just about ride it out, see what he's got, see what his best 11 is, and then attack next season and proper go for it. So I'm pleased.
I think Tony W's comment here kind of backs it up. Only 3 more wins from safety. I think then he'll start mixing it up. Who knows? I think he's definitely finding something because I do like what we're doing. I like what we're seeing on a weekly basis, and that's all you can ask for as a fan, to be honest. You know, obviously we can talk about aspirations, hopes, and stuff. I just want to see a team that I can back and support, and where that takes us to, time will tell. Really, I think you mentioned Tony Mowbray's comments. He was very respectful, wasn't he, mate? And I think he even said, even the best teams in the world, Liverpool, struggled to come to the Den and get a good result, which was very complimentary. I mean, he seems very happy at West Brom. He's back there again, but I do wonder if he ever had the thought on Saturday standing on the touchline, if, you know, because he was linked with a job. Obviously, I know he just came out from illness and stuff like that. And for the record, I'm very happy with Alex Neil. But I do wonder if he's sitting there standing at the dugout thinking, I could have maybe done a turn here, maybe. It's just a bit of a nugget, I thought. What do you reckon?
Yeah, no, I remember saying in our group chats, I'd love Tony Mowbray. I'll put Tony Mowbray in that top 3 or 4 EFL managers of all time. I think he's amazing. He's an amazing bloke as well, and really glad that he's got rid of, you know, his bout of illness and he's back in the game, because football needs Tony Mowbrays, and he's always complimented Millwall. It wasn't just at the weekend. Every time he comes here, he's appreciative of the club, the fan base. He likes that type of fan base and that type of club, and he's really respectful of us. And he would have been an excellent appointment. He's not. He was the opposition. I'm, like you said, I'm really pleased with Alex Neil. But yeah, it's nice to have someone of that caliber talk about our club like that, and that's a testament to the fans for how hostile we make it. That's a testament to the players for how difficult we make it, and to Alex Neil for putting it together, because Alex Neil is a respected manager in this league as well. So no, credit to Mowbray. He's a great guy in football.
I do share this comment from Born Free, Die Free here. My confidence in the gaffer grows daily. I was gutted when Harris left, but Alex Neil was different gravy. I can't fault it. And I was the same as well. I think I went into a stage of mourning for about a week and a half after Neil Harris left. And yeah, I'm over it now, that's for sure. And well, I was. Sure? I was upset for the time, wasn't I, mate? I was devastated in the group chat. I'm happy to admit that. And then I've seen it on here, mate. I think I even hid from the shows for a couple shows, mate.
The worry, though, I think everyone, even if people didn't want Harris here, I don't think anybody didn't want Harris. I just don't think people didn't believe he was the next guy. But I think the worry was, even if you didn't like Harris, was, are we going to be able to emulate what he did bring to the club, which was that togetherness, that fight, that understanding, that, you know, everyone in unison. Sadly, it didn't end in unison, but you did have that doubt that the next guy really has got to be of a similar mould of Neil Harris in a sense. And I think Alex Neil is very much got that about him. He seems like we know he takes no bollocks. He'll drill the players, and he talks with such sense and honesty, and we can relate to him. I watch his interviews and I relate to him, and I think we found the best of both worlds there. Someone who's got a lot of Harris's sort of mannerisms, but also someone who's tactically very, very good. And from what I understand, Neil wasn't even in the run-in because he hadn't been in the game for over a year, and he applied for the job. And it was like, oh, hang on, what about Alex Neil? You know, what he's done. So he obviously wanted to be here. So that's a big thing in football if you want to be somewhere. But yeah, I agree with that confidence. Harris left us in a hole that we was a bit worried that we could end up going down because morale, and Alex Neil's picked that up pretty quickly.
Definitely. I think, you stole a lot of the things from my mouth really there. I think with Alex Neil coming in, like, couldn't confess to knowing a lot about his character. You looked at his record on paper and great. Obviously, we had a good record with Scottish managers in the past, and we kind of clung on to that a little bit when he first got appointed. But you're right. And I think that was the one criteria. So less about what Harris could have been or whatever, but it's more so what I thought next. I wanted that character, someone to be, be the focal point. And I think when you look at previous managers gone by, Harris being one of them, Kenny Blackett, Mark McGee's, these obviously go back to John Docherty. You saw the character he was in the video clips that went around, obviously, after his passing. I think Alex Neil fits that mould a bit. He's a man manager, but also takes no prisoners, like you say, mate. So early days, but the signs are encouraging, I feel like. So anyone else in the chat want to say about Alex Neil? Obviously, Alex trusted Alex Neil from John Parry. It's true. Like, I think he's growing a bit of reputation there as well, and it's starting to get better and better. So yeah, I think we talk about Bangura-Williams, but also Cundall, speaking of which, had that chance, didn't he, mate, at the end as well? I think it's a rebound shot. Was it Negley came on, had the kind of effort, brought it in. Cundall's kind of latched on to the rebounds. I was just thinking, put your foot through it, but he's tried to ram the keeper, hasn't he, mate? And
and I'll sit right behind that. You do, just to the right of me as well. But the keeper just made himself. I mean, I did want to put it down to Cundall at the time. I went, he's got to bury that. But the keeper just made himself so big. He's got his arms out. Cundall has got literally half an inch to work with. And, if he smashes it at the keeper, which I called him to do, he's going to hit the keeper. He had to try and engineer something. I mean, it was great play from Negley. He looks a real player. He's going to unlock some defenses because he threaded that through several bodies, and the keeper just, and any other keeper or any other game that goes in because the keeper don't even see it. But yeah, Cundall, the thing that I liked about Cundall though was he's in the right position. For his position, he's there. As a number 10, you should be feeding off the scraps. You should be in and around the box. You should be spreading out wide. And he did that. And people have, for some reason, saying he's been quite poor. I thought he was against Plymouth. I didn't really see it on Saturday. I thought he was good. I thought he was very good, actually. But, yeah, there was, the one that bounced off as well with Tango's header and Connolly. It goes through his legs. You think, he could have done the same. It didn't fall for us. It didn't fall for us to win the game, and we take a point and we move on.
Definitely. Totally agree. Just a few more comments before we start to move on towards Preston, guys. So if anyone want to add anything else on Saturday's performance, I'll be sure to read it out. Tony W's on Mitchell bandwagon here. Grant Mitchell will put a team together. Grant Mitchell, actually, I thought Billy Mitchell, but Grant Mitchell will put a team together after the next summer transfer. And I think we're going to get a really good season next year. Do you know what? I haven't watched He Says for years, but I did see a TikTok clip where Grant Mitchell was back in the show. So if anyone wants to know that, if you're watching EastEnders, I can't confirm that was the thing that I saw. So I don't know if that's fresh in your memory, Tony, if you watch the soaps. Fair play to Billy from Andy Herbert here. Great against West Brom, header off the line, and he was getting forward. He actually looks better than under Harris. And I would like to say again, Harris was amazing at keeping us up, but his methods were not sustainable over a full season. I see he's being linked to return to Cambridge. Do you think Cambridge have him back? I mean, I'm sure the club would, but I don't know if the fans...
I think what his situation was understanding. I mean, there's been uproar about Eustace moving to Derby, kicking off. Harris did the same thing to us. He left the club to come to us, and Eustace played for Derby. Not a legend like Harris is, but the same situation. They'd be mad not to take him back. They understood his situation, his promise. It wasn't like this is a random football club come in and turned his head with money. This was something he'd always said he would do, regardless of the club. He could have been at Liverpool and he would have dropped everything that had to come back and save us. So yeah, I think they will. He had them in a really good position. So Harris should get another job, and he deserves another job because he will keep teams up. He's good for doing that. I do agree that maybe over a full season, I don't think Harris is tactically very good. I think Harris is a good man manager. I don't think he's a good coach. I don't think he can coach players to play a tactical way. I just think he will lead you into war and get you up for it, and you'll have to bleed on the pitch. Whereas Alex Neil will he'll make you play, So Harris will get a job somewhere, and good luck to him, because there isn't. I've said it before. There isn't anybody in my eyes, maybe even Kitch or the Belsons, that rival Neil Harris's legacy at this football club, and probably never will, to be honest.
I miss you, Neil. Venom here. RBW definitely needs to start tomorrow. We'll come on to tomorrow's game shortly. Andrew Roberts here. Neil should have kept the same team after the Leeds win. Only change a winning team if players are injured or because they need dropping. Keeps the first 11 motivated and needed to play consistently. But I will say, though, obviously, we won 3 games prior to that, Andrew, as well. And then obviously Crammer and Connolly both missed out being cup tied. So tricky one. I do get where you're coming from completely. But also remember that the 2 players that missed out against Leeds were doing great for us before that as well. So it's a tough one, but a good problem for Alex Neil to sort out anyway. Interstellar, good to see you, mate. Beat Teller, he says is. Alex Neil has done well, bedding in 8 new January signings. Still not even seen Lovelace or Zach Sturch, have we? And I think
we will see Lovelace either.
Why is that? I
think he's well, there's pictures of him around. He's in a full leg brace.
Brilliant.
He's in trouble, yeah.
Okay.
He's in trouble.
I didn't know that one, but there you go. So, straight to it. Dean Taylor, no way would have left the Liverpool job to come back to us. Maybe he went sacked from the pool. I don't know. I
use that as an example to say that Harris would have dropped whatever job he had to come and save us, which I've got no doubt he would have.
Yeah. Got you. My bad, I missed that part. Right, we're moving on to tomorrow's game, Preston North End. If you've got any comments or thoughts on tomorrow's game, we're going to start to preview it now. I like to go onto Google, Jay, and this is where I get some of these stats from. If you go onto the Preston Millwall game on Google, you get 5 insights. So I'll read some of these stats out. Some of them are quite dooming sometimes, but these look all right. Preston North End are winless in their last 11 league encounters with Millwall. They've drawn 4 and lost 7, including a 3-1 defeat in the reverse fixture in September. I think that's when Coburn got a goal, didn't he, I think? Mill haven't lost an away game at Preston since a 3-2 defeat in December 2018, winning on 3 of their last 5 trips. There we go. Preston have only won 1 of their last 12 championship games against London clubs. They've drawn 3 and lost 8. A 2-0 win at QPR in April 2023. Mill have won 2 of their last 3 away league games, although lost their last 5-1 at Plymouth. The first time they have shipped 5+ goals in an away game in the championship since 2021 at Coventry, a 1-6 defeat. That's St Andrews, isn't it? Yeah. Millwall manager Alex Neil has lost 3 of his last 4 previous league meetings against former side Preston as a manager, though did win in his only such trip to Deepdale with Stoke in October 2022. So obviously the main talking point there, Alex Neil is returning to his old club. Some good stats in our favour historically there, mate. But yeah, interesting nonetheless, mate.
Well, Sunderland have just gone 1-0 up against Leeds United in the 31st minute. It is interesting, but it was all nice when we had Zian Fleming, who I think probably scored half of his goals against Preston. Look, it's a club Alex Neil knows really well. It's a club that we travel really well to. We are the only game playing tomorrow night as well. They've been playing really well recently, Preston. I think they've only lost 1 in their last 7. Draw against Burnley in the derby, beat Norwich. They've had some really good results. Heckingbottom, I think, is a good manager. He likes to deploy that 5 at the back, and that'll cause us problems if we can't create, because they'll be defensively stout. So I expect it to be a tough game, whatever it is, because as Daily Mail says, the battle of the mid, and it very much is that. And I think if we was to win tomorrow night, I think you could probably argue that we're safe. If we definitely at least don't lose to Derby as well, following up from that, I think we're pretty good. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game, whatever it is. These Tuesday night under the lights, Millwall under the lights in general, are tough games to watch anyway. But yeah,
I've looked through their team. They were playing at lunchtime on Saturday before our game, so it was on the telly as well. They played Burnley. They got 0-0 against Burnley. A lot of teams draw 0-0 against Burnley or don't score against Burnley anyway, to be honest. So there's no crying shame there. But I think I looked through their squads, and I think it's quite a similar profile to what we have, really. I think Alex still touched on it. That's how the clubs run up there, and why he kind of, appealed to that side of things. But for Millwall anyway. But it'll be interesting. Like you said, it's a good hunting ground for us as well. And I look through their side. I think obviously Woodman in goal sticks out. Obviously Sandy Woodman's son. Brian Porter in centre half is a good little centre half as well. They've also got Ryan Ledson in the midfield. Always like they've got Potts as well. I'm just looking at the last 11 here, and I think that Osmajic, doesn't he? Is he potentially suspended or not? I don't know. There was some sort of case against
There's
him.
uproar in what he said. The quote is that Hannibal reckons he called him a black man, but he said he called him a bad man. It may be a language barrier. I hope he didn't call him anything like that. I hope he didn't use a racist slur. But Preston have got a habit of that. You know, that guy bit that player, didn't he? That all went off. And Preston are a nasty side. They're going to make it difficult for us.
Yeah, for sure. I've just been sent a picture of Lovelace in a brace on Saturday. Brilliant.
Yeah, full brace as well.
Today's your
full
confirmation.
brace. But no, they've got some good players. And, you know, Emil Reese is someone that I've touted in the players that I want to look after. Alex Neil signed him. He's out of contract. He's a target man that we need, that Alex Neil has openly said he wants. So I'll be keeping a close eye on Emil Reese tomorrow. He could cause us some problems. Cooper will have his hand full with him.
Yeah, for sure. I think obviously talk about our game as well. I mean, our team, sorry. A couple of comments here that are talking about the team lineup and stuff. Obviously, Patrick Barrett here says it. I think Wes Harding needs to get some more minutes under him at right back. Don't want Essay run at him in 11 days, and he hasn't had many minutes since Leeds. And then obviously Connor says the same thing here. Wes Harding deserves a start after Crammer having a mad the last 2 games. Interesting.
I do agree in this sense. Crammer is a centre half, and not only is he a centre half, but he's a 6'4" centre half. So he's belting up and down that wing. To be 6'4" and belt up and down that wing, that's difficult. That is difficult. It's not a surprise that he's having a mare. I'm not going to blame him for it. He's come up from League One and playing out of position. I do agree with the fact that Harding, I thought Harding was excellent against Leeds. I thought he looked quick. I thought he looked really positionally sound. I just don't think he gives us the ability to get forward that Alex Neil really likes, to link the play, especially in the transition, playing the high free. I agree that I think there will be changes. I do think there will be changes because we'll need to be more creative against their back five.
Should we go into what our team might be then and what changes we can expect? I mean, obviously, Negley sat out on Saturday. Came on as a sub. Could we see maybe him getting a start maybe tomorrow, mate? What do you reckon?
I think he will. I think, like I said, this is not going to be a game where we're going to outpace or outstrength Preston. I think they're really big and physical. That's a typical Heckingbottom side. Saw it with Sheffield United. I think that we'll look to be more of the tactician. We'll look to keep the ball and we'll look to try and get him behind the channels. I think Negley will play, Aziz will play, Kundal, them players will be key to unlocking that. And then, you know, if Coburn is back, you've got the ability to change it up, you know, and if it isn't working. But I do think we'll go more for the tactical approach as opposed to the sort of long ball approach that we did sort of utilise against West Brom, really. We did sort of go a bit long. And then when we changed it up and went a bit more tactical, we was the better team. So I think that's shown in the Leeds game, in the games that we won prior to that, in the Pompey game, that if we're a bit more tactical, we're probably the better team against these physical sides like a Portsmouth, like a Preston and a West Brom. So I think that's the sort of route we'll go down. I think Negley will play.
I think it'd be interesting to see if he plays Aziz again. I know you said probably expect to start, but I think we're managing his minutes back a little bit. So it wouldn't surprise me if he sits out tomorrow.
No, it wouldn't. No,
to be honest. But we'll have to wait and see. I think we're wary. I think you see the impact he's had since he's come back, mate. And I don't want him to break down again and be missing the rest of the season.
Well, Marku's back as well, isn't he? You know, you got a Marku back for that change of pace as well. So that could be an option.
I think also on the Coburn subject here, Andrew Roberts says if Coburn is eligible to play against Preston, does Neil play him up front on his own or in the two alongside Ivanovic, or does the Serb start on his own? I think the Serb's an interesting talking point, Jay. Obviously, he scored a few goals. He's had a dry patch. He's not scored in 3. But as football fans, that's naturally going to perk our ears and interest here. He was isolated Saturday, wasn't he, mate? I think considering he was at home, we had chances. I feel like the game missed him by a bit, but I was adamant he was going to go on his arc here, the Steve Morrison arc. And, you know, it's gone quiet for him for 3 games, right? Fine, but he's not that player to play out front on his own, is he? As much as difficult as it is, and we touched on Bangura-Williams not being there to maybe play further forward with him, and Kundal's coming deeper, I suppose, to get on the ball and stuff. But it's an interesting one, isn't it, with the Serb? Because I can't figure out yet what's the best way to get the best out of him. You see his goals. If you play him through on goal, he scores. But how often are you going to get him in positions? Maybe a get away from home at Preston is the game where that happens. I don't know, but it's an interesting one with the Serb, isn't it, mate?
I think direct football. I think we've seen that. I think someone in the 10, as we spoke about the differences in the number 10 that we've got. I think Cundall would suit Coburn more. Someone who's a bit more static, who's probably really good on the ball. Coburn, mistakenly for how tall he is really good with the ball at his feet. And I think Cundall will suit him. Whereas the Serb likes to be that guy on the last shoulder. He likes to belt through. You look at the goals he scored this season, Derby, Portsmouth, Luton, all the goals he scored this season, he's been on the last man, he's been getting in behind, and he's running at defenders. He's not really with his back towards goal. I know that's a big thing for him. He's very good with his back towards goal, but you need to get him in behind. And I think that's where Bangura-Williams is probably his best friend in that sense, that he does like to get the ball down and drive forward straight away and pick that pass, and he's good at it. Cundall is the complete opposite, but I think he needs a rest anyway. Even if we're planning to suit him, I think he does need a rest. He's played probably more football than he expected, and probably we as fans expected him to play this season, being that big signing from a foreign country, being really young. So I do think that he probably does need a break, and Coburn will get a run of games, because I think that Coburn's probably the favourable type of striker that Alex Neil wants in his team. I don't think we'll see him go as a 2. He does like to play a 3-5-2. I would like to see us play a 3-5-2, but I just don't think we have the players overall to play that formation yet. And I think it will be one up front for the foreseeable. But yeah, if Coburn can come back, I think the Serb does need a rest, because, like you said, he's blowing, and it ain't for the want to try. And he was missing on Saturday, but he's still running about, he's still chasing, he's still putting under pressure, he's linking up as best he can. He's a really, really good team player as well as an individual player, and he's an asset at the moment. He's proving to be a really good signing, but before we burn him out and he burns himself out, I think we need to give him a little bit of a break. Definitely.
Jake Entertains here says the same thing. Big Serb looks tired recently. Let's see Connolly up top with Aziz, Bangura-Williams and Negley behind. Everyone in the chat, start to get your starting 11s in anyway, and we'll give our 11s as well, and then we'll come on to our predictions for the game. We've got a couple of comments here which I'm going to read through whilst you're getting your comments in. Andy over here says, if someone could cross the ball, we've got so much height, the Serb, Cooper, Tango, Kramer, why can't we deliver a good ball into the box from set pieces? I'll argue Saturday we did. It's just a couple of saves.
Better Saturday.
It was much better Saturday. Who was taking them?
Bryan was taking a lot of them. I thought his delivery was really good. Yeah, I thought his delivery was good.
Bryan was taking a lot, wasn't he? Dan Riggs here. Kramer was a centre mid in his youth, but due to a growth spurt, got made a centre back. Fact for the night. Cheers, Dan.
He's John Stones 2.0, that man.
Definitely. Patrick Barrett, I disagree. I thought Harding was bombing forward against Leeds and put a good few crosses across early door. He looked really hungry for a spot in the team.
No, he did. I just don't think he's got it for 90 minutes. I think he's better suited as an inverted right back, because I think he's a very, very good defender. Very good defender. I really like Harding. I think he's been unfortunate, to be honest. I would love to see him play.
Andrew Roberts here. Negley can at least strike a ball from outside the box and keep it on target. He'll try and mistake. In fairness to Honeyman, he came on and played centre mid for the last.
I thought he played well. And that's his position, Omar. That's his position. I've got no problems with George Honeyman playing for this football club. The problem I've got is you're playing a defensive midfielder in the 10. I thought he was excellent when he came on. I thought West Brom had nothing through the middle when he came on. I thought he was really good.
Andy Herbert says Serb actually holds the ball up well, and his link-up play is quite good. Dan Riggs says the same thing. He needs RBW behind him or playing a 2. Coburn has made his shine on the bottom. He's felt it from Dan Riggs there. Right. Let's do our starting 11s anyway. I think we'll just in goal Jensen, I guess, mate. Standards.
Yeah, I think it will be. I think he's done enough over the season to warrant the shirt. I would like to see Roberts. I think Roberts has also been so strong. It's a nice problem to have, but it will be Jensen until he has a few howlers in a row, I think. But
what is your take on that? I think on Friday we were saying you don't really want to drop Jensen. He strikes me as a really confident goalkeeper, and he's not done much. He's not done much wrong, and if you drop him, you're going to kill his confidence. I feel like. And
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
He's also the investment from the club, isn't he, mate? Do you know what I mean? Like we spent money on him,
and he's here beyond this season. Roberts isn't here beyond this season. He's, I would like him to have been, because someone will probably pay us a good bit of money to get his services, because I think he's definitely a championship goalkeeper, and he's very, very good. And the problem is that Jensen should hopefully know that he's one howler away from losing his gloves for a week or two, because Roberts has been that good. But it will be Jensen, just because you can't just drop a goalkeeper because another keeper's been playing well. Jensen has been good this season. He's got better and better and better. Not the greatest coming for corners still, but his shot stopping has been excellent. And he showed that again at the weekend. I thought he was really good. And how many times you concede 5 goals and you can't really pin any of them on the goalkeeper? You know, it's a bit unfortunate, some of the goals he has conceded. It's a bit deceiving, but it will be Jensen for the foreseeable.
Yeah, totally agree. Right back, Kramer or Harding? I guess Kramer, right? I'd keep Kramer in personally.
I think he will. I'm going to do what I think he will do and what I'd like to see. I think it will be Kramer just because he seems to overall suit what Alex Neil wants to do. He has been pretty poor recently in the last couple of games. Can't hold that against him. But I think it will be Kramer just because he's big and Preston are big as well.
I think we'll fast forward. I don't see any changes in the back four, to be honest, Jay. So
no,
I imagine
there won't be.
Kramer, Tanganga, Cooper, and Joe Bryan.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I think Zach Sturch is deciding obviously to play at left back. Are we going to see much of him? I think if Bryan's been performing quite consistently well anyway, but from what I've read between the comments from Neil on the weekend, I think Sturch is probably there in case more than anything else, maybe. And also, it needs time to get up to full speed and not play much football, albeit he's played for the 21s at Chelsea, really. So I think he's there as a contingency more than anything else from what I've read between the lines anyway, early doors.
Yeah, a few people I spoke to said his insurance. You know, it's a chance for a young player at a big club to come and experience a first-team squad, to be around just in case something does happen to Joe Bryan. And he does benefit from it because he's getting that experience of being around a first-team dressing room and seeing what it's like in that atmosphere and the day-to-day dealings of being around a first team. So, yeah, it is insurance. It's a smart move as well. It needed to happen. I was more worried about signing a left-back than signing a right-back on the final day because we've got some players that can play right back: Tango, Casper Denore, Billy Mitchell, Kramer, Harding. We've got no one at left back. So yeah, it's an insurance piece because Brian's not losing his job unless he's hurt. So
yeah, for sure. Midfield 2, mate. I think. Well, could he maybe put Denore on ice tomorrow? Maybe get him back in on Saturday. I mean, I personally would go for Denore and Mitchell. I don't know what you'd go for, but I know you said about maybe it's a game for Saville tomorrow, which I totally appreciate as well. So what would you do, mate?
I think he'll put Sav back in. I think it was right to leave him out. At the expense of Mitchell, yeah. I think Casper he does keep taking Casper off for some reason and leaving Saville on in the last sort of 20 minutes. I think that's to keep Casper fresh. I think Casper's really, really good at breaking the play up. He's good at linking the play. We saw it at Leeds and we saw it again on Saturday and most of the season. So I think Casper's that main man in there. And I think, like I said, we're going to want to keep hold of the ball. We're going to want to be a little bit more tactical tomorrow, a little bit more resolute. We're away from home. You're going to need some leaders out there. So I think, yeah, Saville will be that guy next to him just to keep things shored up, knock the ball about, whereas Billy's a bit more of your gung-ho, isn't he? But Billy's made a good case for himself. I wouldn't be surprised if it was Billy. I would go Saville and Casper personally.
Okay, and the 3 behind the striker, I will go with Negley, RBW, and Connolly. Is my 3, mate. I think then I'm missing out Kundal and I'm missing out Zeus. I want to play Zeus. I want to probably persevere with him, but I think I want to manage him a bit, to be honest. I do kind of not want to get him injured, but then maybe you play Zeus for the hour mark, maybe. I don't know. Do you know what? Actually, I'll change my mind. I'll go Zeus, RBW, and Connolly. They're my 3. How about you, mate?
Yeah, I'm going to say I think it'd be RBW in the 10. Aziz, I think it's going to be RBW out wide on the right, and I think Negley will play in the 10, and Aziz will be out wide. Neil spoke that he does see Negley more as a 10. I think when he came on and he sat in that pocket, he was very good against West Brom, and we're going to need that with this big back line, this static back line that Preston have, someone to unlock it in the middle. I think he'd be wasted out there. So I think it'd be Negley in the 10 finally. RBW out wide and Aziz, but with the beauty with them 3 is they're interchangeable. They can mix it up all throughout the game, so you probably wouldn't put a set position on all 3 of them, to be honest.
No, for sure. And up front, I think it's going to be the Serb. I think if Coburn's on the bench, which it sounds like he's going to be, which is great, I don't think you rush him back and throw him straight into the firing line. I mean, I don't know how long he's trained for. I don't know how he's been around. I think he's been about a week or so back in training, to be fair. So maybe it wouldn't surprise me if he started him randomly, but I don't think you rush Coburn back into this side, mate, tomorrow. I think the Serb continues.
Yeah, he'll play, and hopefully, I mean, I imagine we will see, 10, 15 minutes of Coburn, and he'll start working his way into a big game at Derby. I think that's probably where that position will be up for grabs. Will probably be Derby, but yeah, I think you're right. It'll be the Serb. Alex Neil's a smart guy. He'll see that RBW's been a good link for the Serb. He'll see that Negley has been better in the 10. He spoke about both things, so I expect him to rein a couple of changes, but not too much. It'd be to suit the opposition.
For sure. I will read out some of the teams anyway. So we've got Patrick Barrett about here saying, I think Roberts, it won't happen. He says in brackets, Bryan, Tango, Coops and Harding won't happen. Casper, Billy, Negley, RBW. He has then gone on to say he wants Aziz playing instead of Kundal and Ivanovic. So that's his team there. We've got Dan Riggs, Roberts, Tango, Cooper, Bryan and Kramer. Aziz, Kundal, Casper, Negley, Coburn and Ivanovic. He's gone for the old classic 4-4-2 there. I mean, you mentioned this, Jake. You mentioned this, but I'm not convinced Kundal is that central midfielder, especially in a 2. Maybe in a 3, where you got 2 8s and maybe a holding midfielder, where you could then maybe have Denor holding and I don't know, maybe have 2 midfielders either side, like a Honeyman and a Kundal, maybe bobbing up and down, or I don't know. But I think it's very attacking if we had a Kundal in there in the midfield. Personally, I know you said a couple.
No, he's definitely better in a 4-2-3-1 where he can be the guy that does work in the transition and that free sort of rotate in the triangle. Alex Neil has said he does see him as a centre midfielder. Wolves saw him as a centre midfielder, and he sees Negley as a 10. So you got 2 players that one's meant to be a 10, one's a winger, that he sees them as inverted players. I think Kundal would be a very good 8 alongside a Casper or a Saville. I don't think it'd work with a Billy Mitchell or a Kelly or a Wintle or a Honeyman or someone like that. Not in a 2. I just think we lack physicality there. If he was to play in a 2 with Casper, there's too much open space, and I don't think he's that physical. But in a 3, definitely. But I see him as a centre mid. I see him as a future centre mid for us, and Negley is a 10. Or RBW in the 10 and Negley out wide. But yeah, it's an interesting problem to have, because you've got to find a way to get him in this team. You spent a lot of money on him by our standards, and we went after him for a while. We went in and then come back out and then went back in, and he is a good player. So it's definitely an interesting to have someone who could play multiple positions. But that seems to be the common theme with most of the signings, is they can all play sort of 2-3 positions, and sort of you're not really knowing who's what from one week to the next. I'm sure next season that'll be ironed out.
Definitely. We've got some other teams here anyway. One more from there. We've got Interstellar here saying Jensen, Kramer, Tango, Cooper in a back 3 with Saville, Billy and Denor midfield, Aziz and Watmore either side by looks of things, and Bangura in the 10 behind the big fucking Serbian. Interesting.
Yeah. I like the 3-5-2 is what you're referencing, basically a 3-5-2, a 3-5-1.
Yeah.
I just don't think Aziz and Watmore are going to give you what you should have in a 3-5-2, which is that tracking back. Probably play Bangura-Williams more centrally and have Casper out wide dealing with that, and maybe Watmore in the Bangura role. But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Appreciate your team lineups, guys. I've read a few of them out. Start to get your predictions for tomorrow's game, because we're going to start to wrap up. If you're new around here and you're watching live and you're liking this, please be sure to like, subscribe, and obviously give us your feedback. And if you listen on audio, as mentioned, Friday nights and Sunday nights typically, you'll catch us on YouTube about 8 p.m. to preview. Today it's a Monday night, but we do try to keep to the schedule where we can help it. So, yeah, right. Jay, talk to me about tomorrow anyway, your general thoughts for the game, mate. I think away from home, obviously we've had a decent run of form recently of late. Obviously, take Plymouth out of that one, but I'm quite confident going out there tomorrow, to be honest, mate.
No, I am as well, and I think if you look at the away performances where we've won, you look at Leeds, Portsmouth, Luton, that we've been very attacking. We've been on the front foot. We've got the ball down and played, and I think it'd be no different tomorrow. I think we'll go with a more tactical approach, as more of a gung ho approach, due to, as I've mentioned several times, the state of the Preston team, the size of them, the physicality of them. We'll try and draw fouls. It's going to be hard, but why shouldn't we be confident? We've been really good away from home. We're a good football team at the moment. So, yeah, I think it'll end in a draw, though. And I'd be quite happy with a draw at this point. You know, take a point into Derby. And hopefully you give Derby an idea who've let a few coaches go as well today. A few of them have resigned. So they're in a little bit of turmoil as well. So go for the jugular and make it an half-decent week and try and come out of it unbeaten.
What was your score prediction, sorry, mate? Did you give one?
1-1, yeah, 1-1 I think it's going to be. I think Negley scores.
1-1 Negley. I want to go 2-1 to the Lions tomorrow. I think Negley gets one as well. I think he's going to start and score. And the Serb, seeing as we spoke about him tonight, I think the Serb will get one as well. Let's get some comments in anyway. We've got 2-0 Millwall away win from Andrew Roberts. 1-1 from No One Likes Us. 1-2, 2-1 to Millwall, sorry, the other way around as well. An own goal for Bryan from Andy. 2-0 win tomorrow from Danny Chappell. We've got 1-1 tomorrow from Dan Riggs. He thinks Negley's going to score as well. Sounds very similar to you, mate. 3-0, Cooper anytime, 45-1 from Patrick. Love that. A score draw from Lion Blue. And Camel Toe is going to score a screamer tomorrow from Andy Herbert. 1 Millwall from Lady Millwall too. Do you know what? I feel part of me thinks it's a long way to go. So it's going to be a Tuesday night trip to Preston. I wish I was going, to be honest, but couldn't get the time off work for that one. But I feel relatively confident. I think we're going to go there, play a bit of football again, and obviously we've got the benchmark from Saturday's performance. If we can repeat that performance more often than not, we're going to win more games than we're going to lose, I think, because we played a good West Brom side who've got good players in their side, West Brom, and we contained them. Obviously, I mentioned Malumbi. I was saying to Mickey on Saturday, to be fair, mate, I'd love to have Malumbi back at Millwall. I know we've got those midfielders, but Malumbi's just that little dog in midfield. But we're not talking about that anyway. But I just think that's the benchmark, isn't it, mate? Try and strive for that performance. And I think that should be enough to carry us through for at least the next few games and then build on that, right?
Yeah, why not? We've been playing really, really well. We don't fear anybody. Showed that on Saturday. It's a top 5 team, and we arguably should have won the game. Why should we be talking that we should have won the game against a top 5 team and then be worried about going to Preston? We shouldn't be. We went to Leeds and won. We went to Luton and won. Portsmouth and won. 3 of the hardest places to go in the Championship. We didn't concede a goal. Plymouth was an anomaly. You need to put that to bed straight away. You need to get rid of that and burn it and in a satanic ritual, because that doesn't happen often in football. It doesn't happen often to Millwall. So not too concerned with Plymouth. We righted that wrong very quickly. I expect us to be putting a really good performance, and we shouldn't be worried about going to Preston at all. They should be worried about us coming to them because of their recent record. We're very, very good at Preston. Very good at Preston. So, and arguably we've got a better tactical manager in place now. So
confidence is oozing from over there. I can feel it. I like it, mate. I'm the same. You know what? I just think go there, bit of a, not a shot to nothing, but every away game, you don't expect to win every away game. Don't get me wrong, but I think you go there and put a performance on. As long as you turn up and put performance on, then the result should take care of itself. So, that's kind of where I'm going with this one a little bit. Dan Riggs here is saying next season playoffs, season after the Prem. We've got 2-0 Wall from big fucking Serbia and then Tango for ball free, die free. One question actually I thought we'll come up to at the end. Andrew Roberts put this in. Omar and Jay, do you think we can still sneak into the playoffs in 6th place at the end of the season, or have we blown that with our last 2 league performances? I'll go first. I think playoffs for me has never been something on the cards at all, to be honest. It's just take it game by game. I know that's really cliched. But if we keep performing how we did on Saturday, we'll win more than we lose. And if we're there 5 games to go with an outside chance, playoffs might be on. That's kind of how I look at it. I don't like to put expectations on it because for me, it's just, like I said, watching a football team on a Saturday that I can get behind and support, to be honest. And I think in the Championship, it does normally dictate financially where you're at and how your recruitment goes. And early days suggest it's a good recruitment from the January window. But look, if we get there in the summer, I'll be amazed. But what's your thoughts, Jay?
No, I agree. I think you look at the big 3. I like to say is you've got a new manager, you've got a system change, and you've got a whole load of new players. To make the playoffs on the back of that is really, really difficult. This is a transitional period. I don't think the club's expectation has changed since the transition from 0 to 0. I think the goal is very much to stay up. You need to be better than last season. So far we are. And I said in my gut reaction that at this stage of the season now, it's about just bettering the teams below us. If that means we draw every game from now to the end of the season, that's fine. If other teams don't better that below us and we stay up, that's a successful season in my eyes. Next season is when it really is going to kick on. You'll have a pre-season. These players will be embedded in. And then then with the new model, the way we're going, with the caliber of manager, caliber of players, and more players to come in, because I think we'll address the defence and central midfield in the summer, then I think playoffs could very much be part of the expectation at this football club. For this season, though, I totally agree with what you said. Right now, get mathematically safe. If we're there with 5 games here, thereabouts, go for it. Why not take a punt on it? Because I do think if Millwall ever got into the playoffs, I do think that we would be, no one would want to play us. And I think we could go and nick it. But yeah, I don't think it should be on anyone's bingo card for right now.
You mean I can't put a bet on for Mill to beat Leeds at Wembley in May?
Oh, you could do, because they're terrible in the playoffs. They are terrible in the playoffs.
I know. We're going to get some last comments in, guys. And like I said, if you're new around here, if you are watching tonight and you haven't liked the video, please be sure to do so. It's been a good show tonight, to be fair. It's been flowing and nice to do it with Jay tonight. So yeah, we've got Patrick Barrett here. We're going to blow hot and cold the rest of this year. A lot of new signings and gelling needs to happen. See the year out. Good pre-season. And next year have a push. I like it.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
2-0 Coops, Aziz. 2-0 Coops and Aziz. Common lives with Stella. And one more from Andrew Roberts here. We have a better team and manager now than we had when we were 45 minutes away from beating Blackburn. So why not aim for the playoffs? I like it. But that was also fortune to be in that position. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, I hate to try and expect us to be there. Let's just see where we are in April, because you never know. I mean, it could be that we win our next 6-7 games on the bounce. We're suddenly 4th place or 5th place, or whatever the gap is to the big 3, and then you're there. But just game by game, just us.
Could also lose the next 6 in a row and find ourselves having a different conversation. So I think we do have to take it game by game.
That's it. I think we're coming to an end, Jay, mate. Thanks for joining me tonight, and fingers crossed for the results tomorrow, mate.
It's been really good. Yeah, no, there's a good feel about the club at the moment. It's been really, really good. Even after a loss, I didn't really sense that, the world the floor was opening up and, flames were coming out and everyone was wanting to hang themselves. I think it's been really, really good. It's been positive. Everyone's on the same page. This is good time to be a Millwall fan at the moment. Good transfer window, good manager, good football. It's good. It's positive vibes. It's positive vibes, and it seems to be flowing that way quite seamlessly at the moment. So I'm enjoying it.
Absolutely. And thank you everyone for tuning in. It's much appreciated. Thanks for your comments. Bit last minute tonight, but yeah, we'll be back on Friday to preview and obviously react to tomorrow's game, but preview obviously Saturday's trip to Derby County. If you don't know, in a week or so's time, there's ticket details out for it tomorrow anyway. We're playing a certain team over in South East London. We don't like to talk about. Or is it South London or is it Surrey? But anyway, thanks for watching, guys, and we're going to end with the proper video as we should.